big, and we've also got further updates on that, and we'll put it on the screen. But this is breaking on AFP right now, where Trump has told AFP he believes China got Iran to negotiate, and we're getting just more news and more updates on that front, and we'll share that with our viewers also. This is just happening. The entity in the shadows. The entity in the shadows. Now, we're given to understand, again, New York Times has reported that China has actually played a key role in getting Iran to accept the ceasefire. Iran accepted Pakistan's 2-week ceasefire following frantic diplomatic efforts and last-minute intervention by China. China asked Iran to show flexibility and diffuse tension because they highlighted the huge economic setback that Iran would get and damage to critical infrastructure. Now, the Chinese have played a key role in building this infrastructure. Siddhant Mishra will be joining us with more updates on this. But we also have Ambassador Sajanhar, Tara Karta, and also Steve Gill with us. Taraji, the Chinese, they have been quiet. They started buying oil from the Americans, but now they've told the Iranians, listen, we've spent billions and we've invested. We've worked on our technology engagement with you and knowledge sharing. All of this is going to dust or going to be buried under the mountains if you don't cease and desist now.
Yeah, the Chinese role was always evident, Anand, because you saw that quiet 5-point proposal from China and Pakistan when he had gone, when the Pakistan defense minister had gone to Beijing. One point in that is very interesting. I mean, everyone said there's nothing. He says only commercial shipping through the Gulf. That in turn ties with what Iran is saying, get the US out of the Gulf. So there is some kind of a coordination going on. China also gets to rebuild Iran, which is a lot of money involved. Who's going to pay for it? I'm assuming there will be a reparations committee. But the key here, which I'm not sure, I thought I heard someone reporting that the Washington has given Israel a red line. If that is true, then this ceasefire will succeed. If that, Israel is the biggest problem here. Israel does not want to stop this war. It has not achieved its key objectives. So if indeed those red lines have been given to Israel, then this will work. Number two, if equally, like you said very correctly, if the Iran withdraws from its position that all my proxies should be safe, I mean, who's going to agree to that? So if, again, like you said, Hezbollah and the others stop their attacks, but Israel is key here. Because it's a two wars in one. So if one war US has stopped, the other war has to stop as well.
See, what is Israel's red lines? Existential threat remains a constant issue for Israel. And right now, if you were to look at the tone adopted by the Hezbollah, the Islamic Jihad entities who are part of resistance entities in Iraq, and also the Hamas, the kind of talk, kind of rhetoric that they have put out on social media shows that they are only going to continue and pursue. So this is a rogue nation or a rogue entity that's backed its proxies, and it cannot be trusted. So we get to what Trump is saying, but China angle. Steve Gill, before I come across to you, a quick word from Siddhant, who's joining us. We've always spoken about this entity, the dragon operating from the shadows. China has huge investments in Venezuela that suffered because of Trump's intervention. This bombing and pounding of Iranian facilities is going to hurt the Chinese economic investments also, along with their knowledge and technology transfer.
Well, that's right. In fact, Anand, we have been saying this from day one, that Pakistan doesn't have the strategic depth to mediate. All throughout, what they were doing was to pass on the messages from the United States to Iran. And in fact, look, in this scenario also, what they did, they have taken strategic depth on Udhar from China and the United States. So without the blessings of the China, this mediation wouldn't have been possible. In fact, this was the reason that the other day Ishaq Dar visited China. In fact, he met Wang Yi. There was a 5-point agreement, perhaps, which was made public by both China and Pakistan on the ceasefire, so on and so forth. So they don't have strategic depth. They are an asset of United States CENTCOM. and everybody knows that. And in that capacity only, they were operating, passing on messages from the United States to Iran. And you look at the peace plan, Anand. You know, the 15-point peace plan doing the rounds and Iran's 10-point peace plan. There are a lot of point of contention in those peace plans.
Right.
Perhaps nuclear enrichment, U.S. forces to withdraw from GCC, so on and so forth. So even the passing of messages were not done appropriately by the Pakistanis.
Right.
So you know, even they take strategic depth also on Udhar from China, from United States, from the Gulf countries.
No. If a field marshal and the nation's prime minister can claim victory after Operation Sindoor, we know what strategic depth they have. And if they are going to be hobnobbing with terrorists, then we know what strategic depth they have. And if they can't even draft their own posts for X, then we know what strategic depth they have. So let's not give the Pakistanis too much of credit here, but it's the Chinese. The Chinese have too much at stake, and they have come into play, and they have tried. And President Trump has actually had a small, a short phone call with AFP where he said Iran deal, quote, total and complete victory for US. He's further said total and complete victory, 100%, no question about it. And Trump has said in this brief telephone interview further that Iran uranium will be perfectly taken care of. Now, Steve Gill, we just played out the 10-point demand that the Iranians have asked, and what President Trump is saying. They are poles apart.